Good morning, my friends. It is I, Alphinius Goo, with camera Mendy walking in front of the camera for our low-budget production of Goo Morning, Zyathé. Yes, hello. It is wonderful to be with you this morning. There she goes again. This is very annoying. Yes, anyway, the reason that she's walking over there is because we have marvelous Mike here, and Mike is going to talk about something that is near and dear to many of us a little bit older folks' hearts.
You're on camera.
Mike, you're on camera. Don't look like a slug. Why did you do that to him? So rude. No,
I was watching Alphinius.
He was watching Alphinius, the poor guy.
You look like a slug. I thought you looked great. You're like engaged. You're like focused.
Come back to Mike. Let him have a smile. Quick, go. Quick.
Okay, wait.
Quick.
Hold
Oh,
on,
wait.
ready.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah. That's much better. Yes.
Because like as you can see, this is still angled the wrong way. So I'm still gonna need you to just. It has like just a slight angle to it. So I'm gonna have to zoom over there again. It's my fault.
Yes, well, whatever. It's our low-budget production of Goo Morning, Zyathé. But we're going to talk about the RPGA today. Yes, the Role Play Gamers Association, right? So it's going to be a lot of fun. And we got all the other stuff that we normally do. We got some wonderful social media, some stuff that we haven't done. We're going to do the shenanigans thing. And we're not giving away the big map today. No, we're not. Because Camera Mendy and I forgot to put up the vote in the den in the Discord, or the opportunity to win in the den in the Discord. But to make up for that, to all of you, are you ready for this? We're going to give away 2 maps when we give them away. 2. Yes, a second big map for you. So that means for all of you Goo Morning Zyathés who come hang out with us, right? We bribe you well. We're going to bribe you even better because you have now doubled your chances to win a big map. And of course, all the times that you attend, you're adding to your chances every time versus everybody else who doesn't come around here just gets probably 1 or 2 chances. Right, Camera Mendy?
And I did check with Autumn, and she has been just...
diligent?
She has! And that's really good for me because it's hard for me sometimes to pass things off. Sometimes.
Control freak.
It's true. But anyway, so for her to just be doing it in the background, it's been lovely. So applause for Autumn.
Autumn, yes, give her a little golf clap. Yes, golf clap. Go ahead, Mike, you're over there.
Also, this is our 100th episode.
100th episode.
Goo Morning Zyathé.
Yes.
So,
do I look older, Camera Mendy?
And no, wiser.
Wiser. Camera Mendy's, it's review time at our agency, so Camera Mendy's angling for a raise.
Oh my goodness.
Excellent sucking up, Camera Mendy.
That has nothing to do with that. I want people to embrace themselves as they are and all their wonderful selves.
Yeah, so do you want me to start with these boxes in front of me?
My mic is off, but it's not off. So hopefully...
Your mic is off, but it's not off?
I mean, it's not, I don't think, unless I did... Can you guys hear me? Well... We'll see what happens.
They can't hear you?
I don't know. Randy says... Okay, so Tori says she hears me fine.
Okay.
So...
Randy, turn up your microphone. She sometimes talks low. Actually, she adjusts her mic. She adjusts her...
I talked to Allie, who's our new videographer person, and she says what I need is another mic because the thing is my voice is so high-pitched that if we were wearing the same mic, it's just... I overpower you. So I have turned myself down.
She's always overpowering me.
There's just this, like... Nobody cares.
Well, like, the cool thing is that Mike is mic'd. That's very cool,
I know
right?
you have a hot mic, Mike.
You have a hot mic, Mike, so don't say anything bad about it.
Recursive.
Don't say
Very meta.
Yes. There's a lot that's hot about you, Mike.
Okay, I'm boosting myself
Wait,
up
I'm looking
a
the
little
wrong
bit.
way. I need to look this way when I look at Mike. You're so hot right now, Mike. You're like Hansel. And if you get that reference, I'm proud of you. All right.
Clueless.
You're clueless, Mendy?
Okay, let's go.
All right, who gets that reference? Hansel, he's so hot right now.
Wait, are you talking about Zoolander?
Yes, Camera Mendy. Well done, very good.
I was so distracted with the mic thing. I wasn't thinking clearly. Okay.
So you want me to do these boxes? You want me to do this cool book that's in front of me?
Okay, let's
do you
start with the
Do you want to do
present.
social media?
Let's start with the present.
All right, what would you like to do?
Okay, so next to you, there's a bag.
There really is a gift?
On the next one. But
Oh.
now take out the thing with the paper.
Okay.
It's just the top one.
Do I pull the whole thing up or just do it from here?
You can just grab the...
Okay, I'm pulling out the paper.
Yeah. No, not the paper. The one with the letter around it.
There's something in here.
Oh, wait, then
Okay, there's a letter right here.
And that's the thing. I have not done this well.
Oh my gosh.
Mike's like
am I reading
behind the scenes.
Am I
that
reading
he knows,
the entirety of the letter?
You don't have to read the whole letter because it's like 4 pages.
Oh, dang, it's a love letter.
But you can like...
Well, yeah, look at this. I can't read the whole thing, cameraman. It's quite steamy. Yes. Dear Alphinius Goo, My esteemed associate, you do not visit us in the depths of the workshops here at Darkenhaven University nearly often enough. Please do stop by when you have time for a chat. The wine is on me next time. But that is not the reason for this note. You will find accompanying this letter a gift most suitable to your magicianus. That's pretty good. Magicianus. It's Magicious.
Like
no, it's magicness.
Magicness.
Yes,
okay.
but I think it's IOUS. So anyway, it's very cool. Truly, it is a gift, and I am not simply removing it from the premises of the university in case it might be possibly unstable. No, not at all. Anyway, this is great, Andrew. I will read it in its entirety. So this is a gift from Vardig Warren. Do you happen to have the Vardig Warren portrait?
I actually pulled
Of course
one
you do,
for
because I put it up. So
media.
as you know, I'm doing social media. I'm very excited about all of the marvelous characters that are coming in the Darkenhaven and Gloomport box, who are all of our people, right? So there's a marvelous Vardig right there. Down on the bottom left, and that is Andy's character. And Andy came down and visited us, and I guess left me with something very marvelous. And I'm going to pull it out now because this is spectacular. Look at this. This is now my new pen.
Andy hand poured the resin.
Wow, Andy, thank you, my friend.
pin.
So this is handmade.
Yes.
This is like unique.
Yes.
I must put it somewhere. Of all the damn things on my entire desk, I'm going to use the glass from the mug. That is perfect. I'm going to put it right there. Is that good, cameraman D?
Yes. Yes, indeed.
And I'm going to read this, Andy. I will finish it up. But the finishing says, I sincerely look forward to hearing your thoughts on this wonderful writing device and the implications of this Zyathé ink. So I got to read about Zyathé ink when I read the entirety of the letter. Andrew, it was wonderful seeing you. I think Andrew's going to give us a little help on managing stats and stat blocks and stuff.
As our rules lawyer.
Yeah, we're gonna make him an emeritus member of the Goo crew. We have a few of those, so we are very excited about that to have him assist us a little bit. So that is a good thing. All right, cameraman D, we have done it.
Okay, so next up, let's look at the boxes.
So, my friends, you have seen this. This is the spawn of Zanvichu, upside down.
Let me show first what was delivered to our.
Oh yeah, you got to look at this. So they just dumped this at the front door. So
Yes.
Mike, listen, Mike. Don't be afraid to cut to Mike now, cameraman D.
It's so complicated, but I will do it. Okay.
Just try.
I can
Wait.
talk off screen.
Wrong.
I'm looking the right way.
Sorry.
I should be looking the right way.
It's just so the program is not like that easy. I need to get my stream deck set up.
There's Mike right there. Now, Mike,
Yes.
you have been paid a sizable sum of money. Yes?
A good sum. Yes.
To make very nice quality boxes that are going to be used to put excellent materials therein.
In temperamentally weathered Colorado.
Yes, in Colorado and temperamentally weathered Colorado. This is, you know where I'm going. Yes.
Oh, yes, no, absolutely.
So then you determine that you're going to just drive down, drop it off at the front door, the back door, right? Sometime in the morning, the wee hours of the morning, and not tell anyone you're coming, not call them, and just leave them there.
It'll all be fine.
It was fine, thank goodness, because it was not temperamentally weathered that day, yes.
And it wasn't on a weekend, right?
Yes, no, it was not. That would have been even worse, going overnight. Can you imagine the rainstorms we've been having?
Oh, yeah, no.
Unbelievable. Anyway, my friends, you have seen this. This is the spawn of Zanvichu box. And I told you a long time ago, all of you who backed our Kickstarter, and again, I'm so sorry that we are late, but I have a belief set in the ad agency business, which is called, it is better to be late than to be wrong. And I have always had this goal in the bottom of my heart and my soul that I wanted to make one of the greatest cities that has ever been made for TTRPGs. Not just in quality, but in scope and size. So I want you to remember, look at this box, put that in your mind, and then you're about to understand what outrageous deal you got by backing our Kickstarter, even though it is late. This, my friends, is the Gloomport box, and this is the Darkenhaven box. And these are going to be not entirely full, but they're going to be pretty full of all kinds of stuff. And Mike, when he walked in, what'd you say, Mike? You would...
Oh, it's huge. It's the largest city I've ever seen.
Yes. Yes. The grandest city, one of the grandest cities ever made for TTRPGs. This is the goal. And you cannot imagine how wonderful Darkenhaven is, how wonderful the maps are, how wonderful the characters are, because many of them are you. It is unheard of. Right, Camera Mendy? I should ask Mike.
I know. I'm like, I don't feel like I have the history. Like remember last week I asked the chat, like, what other boxes have been there?
It's, I think, 4 times the size of the Waterdeep box set when they put it out.
There we go.
4 times.
An intelligent answer.
And here's the thing.
Yes.
Look at it. It's bigger than my head.
Wait,
That's big.
I have to come back to you. I'm working on it, guys. I'm working on it.
Anyway, the beautiful, yes. And I know we're still working on these things and we aren't quite done and we are battling as best as we can. 4 people in a phone booth, as they say, but we are doing it and we are excited. And I hope that gave you a little wow, because it actually gave me a wow when I saw it. I was like, I mean, it's just stunning.
It looks twice the size.
It's actually a little bit larger than it was supposed to be. They called me and said, listen, we have this other template. It's a little bit larger. What do you think if we add a little extra just to make sure we don't end up with the chapter 4 problem where it's over the bowing of the top, right? And I said, just do it. Because if we're light on stuff on the inside, right, Mike, we can still, if you've got a little air, nobody has a problem with that, right?
Well,
but if you're going over the top, it's...
Well, I mean, as a DM, I want space for my notes.
That's true.
And,
We can release extensions to it.
Yeah.
Like we can release like little things that you can
we already are, because the Mornwood doesn't have a box. Excuse me, it doesn't have a box.
Oh, it's not going to have a box.
Yeah, the Mornwood just comes in a pack. So you could actually, maybe, I don't know if you could fit it in. Of course, there's this as well, Camera Mendy, yes, this magnificent tome.
Oh, yes, here, let me go back to this. So it should be open to...
I see it, yes.
Okay.
So this we participated, of course, this is where we created the Dungeon of Doo Nix, but we participated with Dave Taylor and Jeff Hall on this creation of the tome of Epic Dungeons, which is really featuring all kinds of really cool builds, right? And our build is right there, the Dungeon of Doo Nix, which is sort of the beginnings of the Gooey Game show, right? This is how all this sort of started a long time ago, and this is a beautiful book. Dave and Jeff, it's really wonderful, and I'm incredibly proud to own one. I'm not even taking it out of the package because we have one here. And
that one's mine.
Oh, I'm not even taking it out of the package because I'm keeping Camera Mendy's.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I see how it is.
Excellent. Yes. Thank you, Camera Mendy. Everybody gives me gifts. I always appreciate when I receive a gift.
I give you the gift of so many other things.
You do, yes.
My Saturday mornings.
Camera Mendy, you are the gift that keeps on giving. Yes.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, let's see here. Let's do some quick social media.
I spewed my coffee.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's the thing of beauty.
Oh, my God. I spewed my coffee on Goo Morning's. Mike. Oh, Mike, you are marvelous. Thank you. There we go. Fortunately, I didn't spew it on the tome of Epic Dungeons, Cameron.
My tome of Epic Dungeons.
Yes, your tome, yes. I'm sure that Dave can... Oh, what is this? All right, let us talk about this right now. So, yes, so there in Colorado Springs, every year there is this marvelous thing called the Pikes Peak or Bust Rodeo. And last night, we were at the Pikes Peak or Bust Rodeo watching cowboys and cowgirls doing their thing. Right, riding, bucking broncos, roping, blah, 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 drinking Coors beer and eating ribs. Yes, this is what we were doing. And this is not my hat. This was placed upon me by a little child. This is not Alphinius. You don't know who this is, and you have never seen this picture before. You can't prove that's me, Cameron Mendy.
I have a picture of you in this exact outfit from earlier.
Yeah, that doesn't mean there aren't people with those exact outfits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes. Anyway, it was placed upon my balding pate by a little child, and I could not resist her. This does not count as a hatting. I just want you all to understand that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I make the rules around here. It's my rules.
Okay. I mean, whether we believe them or not.
That hat doesn't even fit, Camera Mendy.
It seems like it fits just
look
fine.
at this. Is this something?
Look at cool. This. Yeah, we're already sold out on a number of games from our online.
And this is the online, right? Yeah. If you go to the Gen Con,
we are sold out on our Gen Con in person.
Yeah, I think even the Gooey Game Show.
It's almost sold out.
It's got only a few tickets left.
Yeah, like 18 tickets
left. Yeah,
it's
going to be bigger than last year. I mean, it's crazy. We are really, really excited about it.
Yes, and but online, we're already selling out of a lot of them, and please join us online. Like the GMs are so amazing. I know we've gotten great feedback from people who've run games or who've played games online with our GMs. So
Indeed. Thank
So
you,
that's
Pamela, who's kind of
gencon.com/online.
coordinating it. But we got a wonderful group of game masters. It's going to be fantastic.
Yes.
So if you're wanting to do online and not going to Gen Con, this is a great opportunity. But make sure you get in there and get in early.
gencon.com/online.
gencon.com/online. Yes. Oh God.
I just
Look at those
appreciated the new. I know. I just appreciated the new Alfabio outfit. With that said, I'm really curious about the backstory of the third twin brother here.
This is not the twin brother.
I mean, but you're telling me this is Alphinius? This is
Younger.
younger?
Yeah, this younger Alphinius.
I would argue this looks older than some of your pictures. I don't know.
I like
You
the
look
hair.
like a druid. What do you think, Mike?
I love the hair.
Yeah, look at that
Yeah.
hair. I got so much hair. Yeah.
Well, and possibly surfer hair.
Yes, somebody said surfer Alphinius. I did see that. Anyway,
That is, like the twin that goes and does like hippie stuff. Like, yeah, basically surfs, like lives on the beach, then goes into the woods. Yeah, exactly.
I think I actually look a little bit like a floating head right here, but that is just my art.
I don't know that you've ever posted this
art
one.
criticism.
I just found it randomly in my email from like years ago. So
All right, Casey.
sorry, I should have done this right after the online one.
Yes, you should have.
Okay, basically what this is we will have a table free at Gen Con. So if you want to just come play.
Cameraman, aren't you supposed to cut to yourself when you
I
do
know. I was hoping you wouldn't
Low
say
budget
anything because then I have to
production.
go through and click through a bunch of stuff, and it's
this? All right, don't do it. I'll keep.
it's too late. I already did it. Okay. I know it takes like 5 seconds. But yeah, so basically, if you're at Gen Con and you just want to play a game, we have a table in the room that you can book out, and you and your group can just come game in the Gooey room, is what I believe this post is about. So I will be honest, I only read the first paragraph of it. So I talked to Casey about it, and I believe that's what it is. Are you about to sneeze? Sorry, I did put you on camera for that accidentally. I meant to not.
Damn it,
but
cameraman!
It just happened.
I didn't even cover the mic because I thought you had a chance to mute it.
No, I wasn't ready for it.
Listen, I'm allergic to this.
That was actually the smallest sneeze you've ever done in this.
I really need to blow my nose.
Here, I'll cut back to myself.
All right, good. And putting me on mute.
Anyway,
Have you got me
going
on mute?
through-
Have you got me on mute?
Oh, no. Okay, there we go. Now he's on mute. Okay, so basically, things are happening on screen. We have some more wonderful pictures of the tremendous tome of Epic Dungeons. This is from Michelle, and she also bought the Dungeon of Duinix side adventure, so that's very exciting. I'm putting you back on.
Yes, it was. Michelle, thank you for giving me this post. I was really excited because I got my package yesterday as well, so it was wonderful to get it.
Did you order Dungeon of Duinix?
Well, no, but I ordered it. I mean, I have a Dungeon of Duinix because. Are you not working now?
No, sorry, your mic cut out for just like
Oh,
a
okay.
quick.
Yeah. So no. Yeah. Of course, I'm buying a Dungeon of Duinix.
Your mic is acting up. Okay, so
Probably
here's what
'cause
we're gonna switch you over to the other mic.
How's it doing right now?
Right, it's fine right now.
Okay, let's
Yeah.
try that let's just see if because I bumped it, so that I might have messed it up a little bit. Anyway, so this is the package that a lot of people got when they got the tremendous tome. And of course, the Dungeon of Duinix I showed last week on Goo Morning Zyathé. It's wonderful. It's beautiful. It's a great tale, and it's I think a lot of fun and a little higher level than we normally sort of have thrown out of late. So we're excited to give you a little higher level. So will be Darkness in Genzicon. Darkness in Genzicon is a very cool dungeon crawl that will take place after, of course, Shadows in Genzicon, and you'll have a wonderful chance to acquire that for free at Gen Con. And all of you and that's the limited edition one, by the way. And all of you wonderful gooey people will do that as well for you. Anyway, so I already showed the thing on the inside of the tremendous tome. And is this Chris? Yeah, because Chris had a little hand in this, I think. Chris is an old friend of mine. And of course, Todd's stuff is featured therein. And he showed a picture of his stuff. And
We're just gonna zoom through the rest of social media because Mike has a really great presentation.
Yeah. RPGA is very interesting. Look,
Yes.
there's Andy with all of our presents and giveaways for Gen Con. Not all of them, because there's a couple things from Dwarven Forge too. So there's a lot of stuff there. You know, that Tiamat is huge, and there's Carrie with, honestly, those wings, she said they fit me, but I don't know that, you want wings on your head.
I mean,
I don't think it works.
I don't know. I'd be curious to see how powerful the wings are. So yes, definitely come check out our booth at Gen Con if you're there, because we're giving away some cool stuff.
Yes, and you have to win these. You have to be there. So this is right, Camera Mandy. Or are we giving our team a chance to win?
No, they're only at the booth.
Only at the booth.
You can only win them through signing up at the booth.
Okay. All right. All right.
Matt.
Yeah, Matt put up some.
painting
Oh,
Carnival.
is that wonderful? Yes. It's showing all of the carnival tents and how they look and what a spectacular event is Carnival.
I'm going to be running it with this.
I'm excited
theme.
for you, Camera
Well,
Mandy.
we'll see how it goes. I have to have time to study up on it. It's the easiest one. It's Carnival Crashers.
Yes.
So we'll see. It's gonna be a good time.
You got this.
Yeah.
Yes, and Dave posted up his new chair and his little area in there.
Is this Dave's chair? I thought this was Gary Gygax's chair.
I honestly do not know. It might. I
looked at the pictures and it said like it was it had something to do with Gary.
Was he visiting? You know what? I didn't. No, he's at the Lake Geneva Public Library.
Yeah.
So yes, I'll bet it was. I'll bet that it was. I only saw the feeling at home, and I thought it was at his place. So, but anyway, Dave, great imagery, and I thought you had purchased some kind of a replica was what I was thinking about, and then I wasn't thinking I should have checked it a little more deeply. But fantastic, fantastic.
All right, lastly, Charles put this up for anyone in Colorado. He's having a gaming weekend at his home. He lives in a beautiful place in the mountains, and it's a very cool opportunity.
Yeah, it's open, really opened up to any of the Gooey folks, which is magnificent. And Charles is a great game master, one of our many great game masters, and a wonderful friend and supportive of all the Gooey stuff we are doing. And we'll be at Gen Con running games. And this is a chance to really, if you want to do something fun and do that, he does this, I think once a year or twice a year. So if you if you want to go game with a bunch of crazy gamers all weekend, you got the chance to do so, indeed. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's move over to the...
So am I sliding, Camera Mandy?
Yep.
All right, are you keeping me on camera, or are you going to cut
I'm cutting to Mike.
Yeah, very good. I just want to make sure.
I'm sorry, Mike, I should have prepared you.
Yes,
It's fine.
Nice shirt, Mike.
There is a story about the shirt.
So, like the Hawaiian shirt and the something gooey.
Well,
yeah.
This is, I'm in the land of Gooey. I needed to represent.
Yeah, I got to
So,
goo up a
I'm
little
curious.
bit.
Yeah, but tell us about the shirt. So, wait, is that part of the whole story?
It's part of the whole story, yeah.
Okay, so also, Mike.
Good to see you.
You too, my friend. You too.
Yes.
Ha! Mike Kenyon. Yes. Oh, I got to look at this camera now.
Yes. I got to get you guys on the slideshow. You guys just chat for a second. I got to get a slideshow thing.
Camera Mandy, do I look thinner?
I think you look wonderful exactly as you are.
So svelte. Okay, not really. I don't know very many people who use svelte.
It's all perspective.
Yes, I'm svelter than I used to be. Yes.
There you go.
Trying to be a little healthier, my friends, is the goal, right?
Well, the tour through Europe and all of the walking has to have helped.
How? I mean, a lot. You
Oh,
know
yeah,
what I'm
no,
saying?
absurd,
I was impressed with myself because I'm kind of a big dude, and I'm busy a lot and I don't get as much physical exercise as I should. And I just stepped on out there and perspired like a madman and just kept going. Yes, is what I did. So my friends, listen. This is Mike. And Mike is game mastered for us at a number of different conventions. Mike is a wonderful Gooey friend, lives here in Colorado. But Mike has a wonderful tale that I really think, even if you are not not been around the game for a long time, even if you are new to the game, even if you were not around in the 80s and the 90s, right? In particular, the 80s in particular, in the late 70s,
Late 70s,
yeah. You wouldn't know about the RPGA. And Mike has brought all kinds of stuff, and we're going to talk a little bit about the RPGA and how it happened and what it was, because setting the stage a little bit, right? You have to understand that there's all kinds of kids, and they're kids. They're 13, 14, 15, 17, 16, 18. In my case, I think I was 16. And they're exposed to this white box, which has these 3 little books in it, and a couple of companies that made a few little miniatures, and we're playing this game that nobody's ever heard of called Dungeons and Dragons. And we've never played anything like it before in our lives, right?
No one had.
Nothing like it, right? and you're playing in the summertime 5 nights a week. You're getting together with your friends 4 or 5 times, right?
Sometimes twice a day.
Sometimes twice a day. Sometimes you just go, right? You get together, everybody sleeps in, right? Then you get together at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
And you just play to the end of the day.
Go get a pizza, keep playing, right? And all of a sudden it's 3 a.m.
Yeah. And then you get back up in 10 a.m. the next morning and do it again.
And go again. Because from a game standpoint, all of the games, cards and tabletop games and all of this stuff, there has never been anything like it.
And that is where the tale starts. Back in, Gen Con has been going on since 68.
1968, Gen Con.
But at that point, there wasn't any D&D, right? It was for war games.
War games.
Right? And when 74 comes around and Dungeons & Dragons comes out, people start to have an event here or there, right? Let's talk about why you would get together at an event, right? As you said, nobody'd seen anything like this. Nobody was playing it, really.
Right. Small numbers.
Small numbers, right? Which means that they're scattered out. So it is highly likely that where you are, you don't have anybody who is playing there, right? So you come to a gathering so that you get a chance to play.
Or you evangelized. Which was the only option you had, right?
Those were the 2 options.
That's what they do with me. They said,
or both, honestly.
They said, hey, bro, we got this new game we're playing. It's called Dungeons & Dragons. I heard of that, I think, somewhere. You want to play? Yeah, sure, I'll give it a shot. Yeah, the crack dealers, right? The first shot is free.
I was 6 when I started, and a 10-year-old was like, hey.
Ooh. It's crazy.
Absolutely. Right. So those first few years, like, you'd come to a convention and somebody would be like, I have a game, bring your character from home, right, and play. Right. And that resolves into 2 problems. First of all, if I'm not running a first level game, right?
Or whatever level they're bringing, right? All that kind of stuff, yes.
Right. You only have a 5th level character and I'm running an 8th level game. That doesn't really work very well, right? Or we're running a 4th level game and you bring in your plus 12 Holy Avenger because your GM at home gave you one.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Yeah, you're destroying everything and nobody's having fun.
Right, exactly. Right. So they needed to try to figure out some way around that. And in 1977 at Gen Con, they decided that they were going to do a tournament, right? And for the first time ever, they said, leave your characters at home. We're going to give you characters.
Because they understood the problem.
Right? And that year, they did the silliest thing I've ever heard of. They had 2 teams show up. They sold 20 tickets. They had 1 judge, and he walked between the 2 tables every 15 minutes.
Wow.
Right?
That's something.
And at that point, because it was the same judge, he could go over the course of however long that event was, this team was better and that team won, right? And you could win D&D.
There it was.
Right.
The infancy, right? Okay, so this happened at Gen Con in 1974. 77, excuse me.
Right.
That is right around the time I started playing.
So in 78, right, the announcement of what had happened in 77 got out, and in 78, they did it again. This time they got rid of the 1 DM problem, right? And this is an event that to this day you have probably heard of. The one tournament they had in 78 was called the Area of the Slave Lords, right? Which is the Slavers module.
Which became a 4 module series, yes?
Right. And at that point, they had 10 GMs running tables of 10, and they turned away 150 people. So from 20 people one year to 250 the next.
Yes.
Right?
And really, when you think about it, Dungeons & Dragons was not advertising on television, which is, television, we were trying to reach kids in those days. That was pretty much the way you reach kids, right?
Saturday
morning cartoons, right? Yeah. And so it was all what happened with your friends, right?
Yeah.
Somebody
the college scene and
yes, yeah. And that's true. At college, you're right, a lot of university students were like, what are we going to do, right? We went out and got drunk last week and I have a terrible hangover and I got sick to my stomach and I don't want to do that again this week. What are we going to do? So they played D&D and got drunk while they were playing D&D and had a hangover the next day.
So from seeing the success of that, Mike Carr, who was GM at TSR at the time, made the statement that we need to have some kind of a fan club, if you will, right, to promote this. He saw the numbers rising and realized what they had. So we get to 1980, and in 1980, they run another open. They run Vault of the Drow, which again is
one of the classics and
one of
part
the
of a
classics.
6 series of
Yes.
modules, right? Which begins with the Giants, right, and then continues with the
Giants was also itself one of those open modules.
Ah, very good. Okay.
And that year, they added in a DM Invitational, where they declared who the best GM in the country was.
Wow.
And the winner of that was a guy by the name of Frank Metzer,
Yes.
who, amongst the things he won, was a job. And Frank got hired on. And when they hired Frank on, Mike Carr said, "You've got the fan club," right? So at that point, Mike now had a task in front of him that was very amorphous.
And Metzer was a pretty big role-playing enthusiast, right?
Absolutely.
Which is one of the reasons why he won.
Yes.
Right?
And
Because he wasn't just running tabletop battles, right? He had all this other stuff going on. A lot of people told me kind of before his time, honestly, right?
honestly, and I mean, he would go on to, he was the editor for the third printing of the original Dungeons and Dragons book, which if many people view as the first, it was the first version I played, right?
Yes.
The first boxed version.
The red box, right?
The red box version.
Yes, that's what they call it. Right?
So Frank looked at it and he said, so what are the problems that we're dealing with, right? And we're dealing with the, people bringing random stuff from. And we're dealing with the fact that the way that those first, the open ran, right? Because they were trying to come up with who the winner was, right? They would rate the teams based off of how well they did in the module. And because it was kind of a war game scenario.
Right, they're still in the war game mentality, right? Which is not D&D, really.
Right.
It's
So you got points for killing things, and you got points for money you got, and you got points for how many encounters you went through, right? Which encourages 10 people to show up at a table and to not talk.
and just go.
Right? You sit down, here are the 15 things we do at every door,
Yes.
right? And give the GM a checklist.
Bow ring.
Right, and just roll over it, right?
Mike, do you mind if I interrupt you? I just want to make sure I show your pictures when you want me to show.
Oh, sure.
your
Yeah.
pictures. So just let me know when you want me to put something up on the screen.
Awesome.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff to show you all. Yes, so it's very, very cool. I hope you're enjoying this. This is a fascinating thing for me, having lived it, right? Having been, gone to game stores and, and just game masters hobbies in San Francisco and the little hobby shop. I can't even remember the name in Montclair and Games of Berkeley, of course. Games of Berkeley, right? I just did. Anyway, keep going.
Okay. So we get to, Metzer looks at it, and it's like the two problems that I see are, one, quality of modules that we have, right? And the lack of consistency that you have, right? And we're encouraging the wrong things in players, right? So he starts up a membership organization. And Mandy, I think there's an ad for joining the membership organization. And
So he starts a membership organization.
Called the RPGA.
The Role-Playing
Gamers
Association. Yes,
right?
Right.
And it was funded, his position was funded by TSR, right? As a half an advertising position for TSR and half as an advocacy position for the industry as a whole. Granted, at the time, they were the industry as a whole.
I was going to say there was no industry, right?
Right.
But around that time, too, I mean, there were Tunnels and Trolls,
You had Tunnels and Trolls, and you had
RuneQuest.
RuneQuest was coming up,
Yes.
right? You were, I don't know if GURPS was probably coming in
I feel like
just
GURPS
about
came,
then.
I feel like GURPS, I mean, there were copycats that came pretty fast. I mean, once 79, 80, 81 kind of rolled around.
Arduin was certainly around.
Arduin,
and
absolutely. People
Empire of
were
the Pearl
noticing.
Throne.
Yes. And people were noticing. They
Oh,
were
yeah,
like,
no,
oh my goodness,
absolutely.
these guys are killing it right now. We're going to go make money, right? And we're going to make cool stuff. We want to make cool stuff too, right?
Exactly, right? And I mean, it spawned plenty of great ideas.
Did you find the ad, Camera Mendy?
I think it's either this one.
It's a full color ad.
Yeah, it's an actual
It's
ad.
a full color ad.
That says join the RPGA or
Sorry,
something like that.
I'm just looking at little tiny.
Oh, you're putting up some cool. This is some cool stuff
I'm
going on.
sorry.
So that's a module that they
Let's just
put out.
let's just upend the presentation since Camera Mendy's putting this up. So tell us
Oh,
about
wait,
this.
I think I know
No,
what it
start
is.
that. Up.
Wait, this one.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, I had to like redesign a whole like layout thing.
Cameraman, I just want to say, when you're looking at this, is this like the most worst production values you've ever seen?
Right, it's completely unreadable text. Right.
Oh, I don't know that it's worse production values than what I'm doing on the show right now. So.
Well, clearly it was a low budget ad.
Yeah. No, I like this though. Yeah, like clearly the typography is not good, but I mean it's a product of its time.
Right.
Well, it's kind of Godzilla King Kong, right? That was one of the.
I think that's supposed to be Tarrasque on the left.
I believe this, but I'm just saying that the inspiration feels like Godzilla King Kong to me, which of course at that time would have been a big deal.
Oh,
right? The horrible, unrealistic Japanese movies that would come over about Godzilla that everyone just loved.
Oh, they were amazing.
The greatest things ever,
right?
Do you remember Ultraman?
I do remember.
Yes, using the beta capsule, Hayata becomes Ultraman.
So
we're really off track.
Yeah, it's fine.
I kind of like you two. You just vibe together. You just have like a thing going. You finish each other's.
We got a thing. Okay, continue.
Right. So you joined this membership organization, right? And they would send you a newsletter.
Yeah, sure. Grab one. Pick it up.
Here are roughly 100 of them. They were, I don't know.
Here, let me see it real quick.
That was one of the white ones, which also.
So this says Living Greyhawk on the front. You see that, right?
This was Polyhedron.
Polyhedron was the sort of official.
Yeah. Right? Well, so after Living Greyhawk came out, they split the magazine. So half of it is Living Greyhawk and half of it is Polyhedron.
You should have some of these in plastic, Mike.
I probably should. They're in a wicker container in my basement. But this was 32 pages. And it came out every other month.
Yeah, these things go in plastic.
Right.
We have some in the office. We'll give it to you.
Yeah, we need to give some plastic. Yes. We don't want the corners pulling up like that and all of this stuff, right? All right. So anyway, so they're putting out a magazine. They've got a little group, right? And now what's going on?
And that magazine was all written by members.
Okay.
Right?
Right. Contributions.
Contributions from
one
members.
of the inspirations for Zyathé, honestly, right, was this, right? The Living City, right, was another inspiration. Just never.
Which we'll get to.
All right, continue on. Yes, we'll get to the Living City. Yes.
Right. So
I didn't study all this ahead of time, my friends. Truly, this is a lifetime of being a nerd. Yes, this is what I do.
So one of Frank's goals was to try to increase the level of play, right? And in order
quality
of play.
Yes.
Right. And he felt that the way to do that was to measure it, right? You get whatever it is you measure, right? So, Cameron Mandy, do you have? So the two things that he did was one. They put themselves into the position, we will take submissions of modules, right? We will edit those modules, and we will send those modules out to whoever wants them, free of charge.
Wow.
Right?
Smart.
Just for the sake of, there was a nominal photocopying fee, right? And we will distribute modules out to you, and because they knew who those modules were going out to, if you requested one here in Colorado Springs, they're not going to send the same one to Denver, right? Because it's probably the same player.
Could be doggone same base. That far. I mean, that far. That literally, it was like that. I mean, I drove from Oakland all the way to Castro Valley. It was about a 30-minute drive for me to play with my friends.
Yeah, same.
Then eventually we moved to my house because I had this wonderful basement, right, where my folks let us play.
This wonderful basement?
Well, not quite that wonderful. But we had this wonderful basement that my dad said, you know what, you guys can have it. You can have it. Move your stuff in. Just do whatever you want. And so we did. And so we sat down there and we played, and it was great. Yeah. So anyway, keep going.
So they would put out modules, right? People would submit a module. Here's several dozen samples, right? This was, I don't know, 20-page module, and then they would ship.
This is called typewriting.
Yes, that was typewritten.
Typewriting. Yes, you had a typewriter.
I had 3.
This is Michael Kenyon's typing.
It was not.
It's not someone else typed it.
No, someone else typed it. That's a photocopy that was sent in from the RPGA back in the early 80s.
No printers, my friend.
Yeah.
Yes. You just went, and then if you got it finished that, then you take it to a photocopy machine, and the photocopy machine would print it out. So tell us about that real quick. It's just aside.
Right. So you would submit a request. If you were running a convention, you would say, we're expecting 100 people to be coming. I would like 6 modules, right? And they would They would send you
support
6 modules, right? At which point you know that those 6
really
modules...
cheap advertising when you really ponder it for a minute, right? Versus the cost of putting a TV commercial on or something like that, or sending stuff through the mail. I mean, it'd be ridiculously expensive.
So here's the thing. Probably a third of the modules that they shipped weren't for D&D. They weren't for any TSR product, right? They were advertising for their competitors.
Because they wanted the industry to grow.
They wanted the industry to grow, right? So...
Which has wisdom. There's wisdom. You're never going to control, Kim, the marketing guy here, you never control 100% of your market, right? And if the industry is growing at an exponential rate, then you as a business will succeed as the tide raises all the boats.
Tide raises all boats.
Yes, and since you're the market leader, actually supporting the industry was not a bad move. All right, back to Alphinius. That commercial was brought to you by Wicked Think Marketing here in Colorado Springs. If you need an advertising agency, we got your number. Ha-ha! All right, let us continue.
Right, so
that was weird. That was really weird. Continue on.
If you look through these, there's James Bond and there's Paranoia.
Yeah, because if you remember all those, I mean, they were great. You know, I mean, and all that spawned all this stuff that was going. Anyway, keep going. I'm sorry.
Right, and
you got me all excited. I'm all worked up.
If you look at this module, right, literally half the module here is the player characters, right? So one of the things that they realized was that as soon as I'm supplying you the module and I'm supplying you the characters, right? Now I can do things with the story. If you're in your home campaign, your GM hopefully is writing the story to meet whoever's sitting at their table.
Yes.
Right? If you show up at a con and it's like, I've got a 5th level module and random stuff shows up.
Right.
It may be a great time, it may not.
It's the balancing, right? The balance is it can destroy a game, right? One person shows up with a character they literally just made up and added all this massive, stupid magic to it and all of that stuff, and it just can ruin it, right? Sorry, go ahead.
But not even from a statistic standpoint, right? Like, absolutely, you're 100% correct. Statistically, the guy with the plus 12 Holy Avenger is going to destroy your table. But from the flip side, right, that guy who shows up with plus 12 Holy Avenger, I don't know anything about his background.
There's no story.
There's no story that ties that in, right? And that character doesn't know this character, who doesn't know this character, right?
Commonality of relationship, and if you can do it, commonality of flaw. That is far better for a table than having everybody just make up a bunch of characters and have them come from all over the place without any kind of interrelationship. If you're a game master, this is what you must strive for in your session zeros. Meet with your players ahead of time. Talk to them ahead of time. Try to bring the characters together before you even begin playing. Yes, Mike?
Absolutely.
That will aid role play. It will aid the tale. It will make your life easier. And I promise you, it will make it more fun for the players.
Well, I mean, if the GM is part of that, right, then the GM, as they're talking, is like, oh, you have a cousin, they're about to be kidnapped, right? And, you know, this person over here,
right, you
can
bring the connections into the actual tale itself.
Absolutely, right? You need to craft the tale around those players.
Yes.
So that is, with how con games go today, for example, almost impossible to do, right? So what they did was, you had a story with 6 characters that were written for this one tale, right? You can give them the backstory and you can give relationships on this person knows this person how, and this is how that has tied up, right? And you can bake it into every part of the character.
Correct.
One of the great players sat down at a table, and I was running the table, and you know it's the generic fighter, right? And I hand him the character.
Eric, the generic player.
Yeah. It's Fred, the generic fighter, right? And I hand it to him, and he looks at the character, and then he reaches into his bag and pulls out every book he has and borrows every book from everyone around him, right? And buries himself inside of a wall of books, right? And I had a spare copy of the character, so I look at it, and like, he's got a pair of glasses and he's got a 15 int. He's got like 4 books, and you know, like he decided to play it as the I've gone to college fighter, right?
Perfect. That's perfect.
And then built it based off of like a couple of notes that were buried into the equipment section of his character, right?
Yes. Made it great.
Yes. And because you now had this ability where you knew the entire ecosystem you were dealing with, you could do things that you can never do today.
Right. Hence why we created the 24 pre-gens in Darkest Dream to begin that campaign, because we wanted to give much breadth to the players to be able to play. And honestly, you can gender bend them, you can rename them, you can even make up new backstories if you wanted and just use stats, right? So this was our goal.
Which works great in the campaign, right? And that gives you a lovely set of seeds in the campaign,
Yes.
right?
Well, and again, the problem is always the rogue from the north whose parents were murdered, the paladin from the south whose church was burned by the evil cult, right?
And,
the wizard from the east that's trying to get mutant meat for his special recipe, right? And they have no...
why are they together?
And why wouldn't they pursue one or the other? Unless they have a negotiation, right? Okay, we'll help you get the mutant meat first, bro. Then you're going to help me kill these guys that killed my parents. And then we're going down south and take out that cult, right? That works. But sometimes that doesn't function so well at tables.
So... interestingly enough, there was one RPGA module called Don't Go There.
Don't Go There.
Where the entire point was that the 6 characters were those 6 characters. And at some point during the course of the module, there was an encounter that should have spawned off and had every character go
in different
directions, right? Just to see how, whether...
They were testing.
They were testing to see whether or not people were like, no, we must go. This is the module at hand. Not, stay on target, right?
Yes,
or whether they were like, this is my stop in this parade, right?
Do you know how it went?
Generally fairly well. If you got to the end, you were eaten by Tarrasques. So...
rough.
Yeah, no.
In the world of Zyathé, I think there's only one Tarrasque. The world does not need multiple Tarrasques.
Mind if I focus you guys?
Are we?
Fair.
I'm like talking. Sorry, I was talking with my mic closed. So I want to make sure we get through all the points that Mike had made and all the slides and.
All right, let's do a couple slides and then we'll continue on this path.
So
finish the point.
Can you pop up E?
The what?
There's the player score form. It's E. I think I labeled it E.
So this is actually how they scored, what you're about to show us.
So I don't know if you can read that at home.
This is photocopy. That's why it's all awkward.
No, it's absolutely, So to get that feedback, right, after the end of your 4 hours, you would go through and you would fill out this form, right? And you would rate your judge on a 1 to 5 scale in 6 different categories, which if you can rapidly do math, means you give your judge from between a 5 to a 30. There are 6 people at your table. That puts you between 30 and 180, also known as a stat.
A stat. There it is, right there. Yes, that's right.
So thank you, Manny. If you, judge 180ing a table was a sign of pride.
Big deal. Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And then you would vote for who was best at your table.
Yes. Yeah, but you couldn't vote for yourself.
Could not vote for yourself, right? And that then would allow you to indicate to someone, this person is the best. Which there's 2 schools of thought, right? That makes it competitive, and then that's not necessarily great, right? Yeah. But if somebody is dominating the table, no one will vote for them.
Correct.
Right. So the goal always became
cooperative.
If you want
to
win, how do I encourage you to be a better player?
Yes.
Right? So I'm now looking at my character going, oh, I know that he has this thing in his history. Let me ask him about that and see if I can pull him out of his shell, right? And
so all of this is being done basically because they're trying to foster role play and cooperation.
Absolutely.
This is the whole goal. They've sat back. Are you liking this? I hope you are liking this. It's fascinating to me. I mean, this is wonderful, even though I kind of lived it, right? For those of you who haven't lived it, I hope you are enjoying it. What's the next one?
People are very much enjoying.
Good. I'm glad. This kind of stuff, it just doesn't get out there all over the place very often, right? There's the logo. Yes.
There's the logo.
Yeah.
There's a large white and red photo.
This one.
Yes.
Sorry for all the wonky effects on this thing. I'm working on it.
So for those of you who have been, this is Gen Con probably around 1990.
Wow.
I like what they did with the kind of separating the game tables out with the curtains. Yeah.
Well, they're a lot closer than they are today. Right. And this is a NBA arena in Milwaukee. Nice. And this is where all of the RPGA events went. right? So the entire floor there, every last table was an RPGA event. And what you're seeing here is a thing that we don't have today, which was muster. So at the start of every session, right, you would have signed up for the event, the feature at the con.
Yes.
Right? And you would have been said, go to section G, right? So you will sit in G, and someone will come through at game time and go, you, and you, go to that table.
Wow.
Right? And then send out table after table from there, right? And at one point, right, the goal is to try to break up so that you're playing with different people.
Yeah, they didn't want you playing with your 5 friends. They wanted people to...
They wanted people to merge,
yes.
right? Because you get better when you play with people
Yes.
who are different and new to you. You learn new things, right? If you play with the same people you play with at home, that's great.
All your habits are your habits.
But and you maintain those habits, right? And you sit down at the table, and Jim's going to play the cleric,
Yes,
and
right.
Art's
Jim
going to
the
play the
generic
wizard.
cleric.
Right? Yeah, Jim the generic cleric, right? So they would ship out this way, right, for all of the different events, and then at the end, when we had winners, right, the winners would get swag, and that swag was modules that were handed in, right, from various. Different vendors, both TSR and otherwise, right? Or you would get such lovely things as,
Hold on, let me
Look at that.
yes.
Oops, sorry. I put up the trophies here. Let me just.
Oh yeah, no, trophies, absolutely trophies,
Oh, that's-
right?
well,
Well, leave the trophies up there. We can do that.
Yeah.
So Mike would have this little belt thing and wear that, right? Would you wear that on your belt?
Pop that on the belt and have all of your dice, and
All your
pens,
stuffs,
and
yes. Accoutrements,
Yes.
we called them, yes.
Here's
right,
more- here's more
T-shirts
swag.
galore from. They ran their own. The RPGA had its own home convention, which was Winter Fantasy.
Yes,
which,
I remember. I never went, but I remember.
It was a good time.
Yeah.
Right. And they put out visors and belt buckles, and there's a jacket that there's a photo of somewhere in there.
Sorry, I'm just like struggling with my slide.
That's all right.
No.
I'm going to interrupt for a second, too. Also, don't forget, y'all, don't let us forget, we're going to do another entry for the 2 maps that we are
Okay,
giving
yeah,
away.
let's do that now. Hashtag maps.
How's our timing? Are we all right
We
on
got
time?
7 minutes.
Okay.
Here's
So-
the
So
sweatshirt.
hashtag maps
Yes.
to get another entry, not for 1 huge Darkenhaven map, but 2. Yes, my friends, 2.
Mandy, can you pop up the Gen Con one that we had struggles with yesterday?
Yeah, this.
Right. So here, for example, right, this was from 1998, and this is the listing of every event that they had running from the RPGA during the course of.
And Douglas Niles was I noticed right there.
Was the guest of honor. Yeah, right. So the way that they would.
And by the way, they're still calling them judges. Isn't that interesting?
yeah.
Right? The DM thing came later. It really came later. I mean, it was interchangeable. I remember us calling it DM even when I was in the early 80s.
Well, I mean, because it was more than just D&D.
Correct.
Right.
It was judges. They
It
were
was
actually
judges.
judging the thing,
Yeah.
which of course, even in the old days, right, when they really were calling them judges before Dungeon Master became sort of the vernacular, that was the spawning of Judges Guild.
Right, yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Was the
yes.
idea, right? So,
But so they would, if you note at the end of any of these events, they would list what the experience point multiplier
yeah,
was
zoom
for
in a
that
little bit
event.
on that, Cameraman. Can you
Okay,
do that?
yeah, just give me a second.
So at the end, it's like one of them says standard XP. One of them, right, says,
Right.
see how they say standard XP? That's telling you get standard. But if you were like in a tough one, right?
So once we had scoring in place, right, they now had a rating from you, and they would maintain your rating, and you would get points. Let's call them experience points.
Experience points, yes, for you as an
individual, as a player,
yes,
right? And you would level, right? You would be an X level player, and because some of us mostly judged, right? You would be an X level judge, right? And they would have special events that ran that were for specifically higher level players, right? A master's event, you had to be at least a 3rd level player, and your judge had to be at least a 3rd level judge, right? So if you've spent the time and you've kind of honed your craft, your reward, right, was to be in this event with other people who had also honed their
right.
their
The
craft.
better players with better experience, right?
Right.
The
And-
leveled up players.
I
as
saw
it
one.
were.
Here's one with like quadruple XP, participation
Yes.
XP.
Right?
So, what is participation? Does that mean that you
I
suck?
think that's kind of the low B.
Yes. that is minimal points for
That
you.
is me.
That was
That
a
is-
noob.
That is my.
Right.
I'm a participation XP D&D'er. I love
All
it.
right, listen, I'm worried about time, but I want to
Yes.
give the chat a chance for any kind of quick questions or comments, right? And maybe we'll go a couple minutes longer. Just, we won't go too long, I promise, my friends, but I hope you're loving this. If there's any comments or questions that anybody has, I'd love to grab those as well. You keep going while she checks that out.
So this went until about 2002. And in 2002, WotC bought TSR.
Yes.
And two things came out of that. One, they realized they're advertising for the competition.
It was at this point in time now starting to be harmful.
Correct.
Well, originally it was good,
Yes.
right? Now it's becoming harmful.
And then two, they, back in 87, they had come up with this idea that, a lot of people don't have a home game, right? Which is why they're coming to the cons. So they wanted to be able to support a home game, and they put out a way to do something like a home game, but only for people who just went to the cons.
Yes.
And that resulted in what was called the Living City. And those events took to wildfire, right? But
The
they
Living City, which was called Raven's Bluff, right?
yes,
Raven's
which
Bluff.
is set in the Forgotten Realms.
Yes, in the
right?
Forgotten Realms.
Which was the test bed where they learned everything you could do wrong with a living campaign,
Yeah.
right? And they perfect. If there's a reason why you're like, why does this happen in Adventurers Guild? The answer is because they did it differently in Living City, and there's a horror story.
Yeah, it was not good.
Right,
It
yeah.
was really bad, actually.
But
But the city was still cool, and the map was fantastic, right?
right, people who, one of the side effects of the fact that there is now loot, right, is that the focus changes, right? And because you're bringing your own character, it's no longer how well you're playing the character that you were handed, right? It is, I'm playing my character. You have no real basis by which to say that I'm not playing my character correctly.
Correct. So it's all about now it's acquisition of loot and character advancement, right?
Right, yeah.
And the tail has gone by the wayside.
Right.
And some of this is influenced by Games Workshop and the
Absolutely.
massive success that they're having with Warhammer and Warhammer 40K.
Exactly.
And so now this gives lead to chainmail, right? Where literally I looked at Dungeons and Dragons, and at that time
It was a
I'm like,
Mendy's game. Yeah.
it's not our game anymore. I'm literally like, and that begins the seeds where this old man starts thinking Pathfinder.
Yeah, no, and that's fair, right? But from a marketing perspective, those living games, right? And this was a legit thing, if I'm showing up at a table where every character at the table is playing a stat of one person, you're my strength, you're this character's strength, I'm his constitution, Mandy's the charisma.
Yes,
right?
yes. I remember that.
If that's what we're having at the table, you're not selling any product for that.
No, you're not.
Right? But if you go, the next 14 modules are going to be set in this one particular location, everybody who's playing is going to buy that source book, right?
It was definitely a marketing
totally
strategy,
marketing
and it worked.
strategy.
I mean,
Right,
it
yeah.
worked for quite a long time. I do think it hurt the game in the long run, right? But in the short run, I think it helped. It helped profits. Let's speak the truth. It's hard for game companies to make money. I know.
Yeah.
I know it now for absolute fact, right? It's very expensive to get your name out there. There's lots of competition. There's lots of passionate people who are making things, and they're willing to put them out there for free. There's just a lot of things that are going on that make it very, very hard to make money in the game industry. That was true then.
Yeah.
That's when they learned that modules were really not profitable, right?
Nope.
And that sort of spawned a whole new things that started coming out in the turn after the turn of the century. And
Yeah,
the internet helped spawn some of those things. I'm sorry, keep going.
no,
Wait, I'm gonna insert in. Everyone put in hashtag Goo Tower We forgot to give away
Oh,
our stuff
yes.
from last week.
Yes.
And so
Put
we're
in
gonna give away-
hashtag Goo Tower.
we're
You
gonna
get a
give
chance to
away
win
3.
something else.
Yeah, we're going to give away 3 this week because I forgot last week. We'll do a giveaway this week. We'll just do 3. Odd
3
numbers are great.
signed Goo Towers at night.
And we
Yes.
are at
do it.
11 a.m., but we're going to keep going because your
Have
guys'
you got any
conversation is
questions?
great.
Yeah,
I
do we
did
have
have
a
a great question from the chat. It was from Randy. He was asking, what celebrity have you played with over the years that really stands out in your memory?
Oh, I
Or met? Yeah.
I played with Bruce Campbell at one point.
Wow.
At Origins, I was his handler through a warp for Briscoe County Jr., and that was a fun time.
Yeah.
You have such a little smug smile on your face right now.
It was a good time.
I know. I love it. I
For
love
us,
it.
for us,
Yeah.
Cameramendi, I mean, you're talking about, this is, for people who, again, much smaller, right? But for people who play sports, you're talking about people like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, right? This is the same equivalency, right? For us nerds.
So one thing I will point out, because I did the math, if you go to Gen Con a couple of years, you will have spent more time on an NFL field than most players in the NFL.
In the NFL. Yeah, that's true. It's true. You're right. Because they don't play long.
Nope.
And they aren't really playing, right?
Yeah.
There's only a few seconds between plays. They don't, I bet you're right. You're right. Okay, what else, Cameramendi?
I'm going to draw our winners really quickly, and then we'll...
This is Goo Tower, though. This is not the 2. We're going to extend the map drawing for a couple weeks. We'll tell you when, but we want to give some other people a chance to win. We didn't do that. It was our mistake. We got to get that up. And also, I must tell you something. Facebook has definitely convinced itself that I live in Central Time. I have to change my, and I tried to fix this. There's actually a selection for date and time that you can put in there, but it gives you a suggested time that says suggested English, and it has the time. But I tried to find the opportunity to make it not the suggested one, and I can't find that yet. So I'm going to have to do some delving. But I think traveling to Europe confused Facebook about my time zone. That's what I think happened. Because I was fine before. I was in the correct time zone. I went to Europe, came back from Europe, and now it thinks I'm in Central Time. So now when I put in the Goo Morning Zyathé invitation, I have to put it in.
I'll see if I can't fix that afterwards.
Oh, we have to go to my
That'd
house.
be amazing.
We can go to my house.
Yeah.
Okay.
Phone. Yeah.
I have our 3 winners.
All right. 3 winners. Go,
Okay.
Cameramendi.
Trey Wild.
Trey, congratulations.
Tabletop Misfits GM.
Aha, we know who that is. James. Congratulations,
Please
James.
come pick it up at we'll have them at the Gen Con.
We will.
Yes. And then, so it's Gygax spelled backwards. So Zaxgigs.
Zagig.
Zagig. Yeah, because
Yeah.
there's actually a module.
Yep.
Right?
Public. Yeah, so it's...
And most people do not know that Vecna is an anagram of Vance. I've told this before on this show. That I can't remember who off the top of my head. I should remember the name, but who made it originally? And Vecna is an anagram of Jack Vance. It's a memoriam to Jack Vance. That's another thing I love about what we're doing, Mike. Is we have 5 or 6 characters in the world of Zyathé who are memorialized.
Oh yeah.
And it is heartwarming and a little heartbreaking at the same time, right?
Well, and I know that there's memorials in some of the modules to like Gene Rabe, who was the head of the RPGA for a while, and Frank Metzer, who was the head of RPGA.
Yeah, I put all those in there, and in the Darkest Dream that will in those modules that's going to continue. I'm not going to do that in every module we do, but in the entire Red Star Rising campaign, I'm going to continue that path of putting those in. I just feel that for this one thing that we did that was special, that was first and foremost, I want to do that. Oh, I want to ask the chat a question.
Okay, I have a question.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
You guys are just chatting away over there. It's hard to break in. But that was a very important aside, FYI. So I'm glad that we talked about it. Is there still a way to make the RPGA work in today's society?
That is a great question. We didn't get a chance to really get into it, but the RPGA, part of the RPGA was that they built up teams, right? Mm-hmm. And you could have a group of people who locally, formed a team, right. And then they would have competitions between the teams, right. So
it was actually a pretty good idea, really, right, in the short term, right? Again, in the long term, there was other issues.
The ridiculously loud shirt that I'm wearing is team garb from the team that I was part of back in the day.
It's sort of Hawaiian camo.
Yes, it is. But if you showed up at Gen Con and 100 people on Saturday are wearing the same Hawaiian camo.
Yeah, right. That's something else, right?
Right, yeah.
Well, you all know, of course, Gary was famous for that. Gary was famous for wearing Hawaiian shirts.
Oh,
right?
we got a hype train going.
Oh, it must be our friend. I know who it is.
It was all of our friends. A bunch of them sub-tiers or sub channels.
Oh, did they? Oh, you all. Thank you, my
thank
friend.
you so much.
You are marvelous.
I'm like in shock right now.
Yeah, well, that is wonderful.
It's Mike's beautiful history lesson
Yes,
has inspired everyone.
Yes, if you, I tell you, this is a great topic. If you want to learn a little bit about the history of this, I think we got to have you back. I think we got to do this a second time and kind of take
and
it.
I'll do better. Like now that I feel
so
like my slides have been all over the place. But let's
to try to get a question out there.
Yeah.
I think what we need to do to avoid the problem that we had is we would need to get something independent of the vendors, right? That was in that same position of attempting to improve the overall quality.
Yeah.
And in Colorado here, we tried it for probably the first 4 or 5 years after the RPGA, because the RPGA had a slow death.
Yes.
Right. They canceled the classic modules, the ones that were character provided, and they canceled supporting anything other than D&D in 2002. But it wasn't until 2014 that the organization actually
it kept
died.
going for 12 years. I guess it was. I was thinking 15 years, but 14 years. Yes. 12.
So you couldn't use RPGA because it was still around.
Right.
Right. But it also meant that there wasn't a great way to pick up steam. So if we can get a scenario where there's something in that same position that is not necessarily funded specifically by a vendor, right? And it does take effort, right?
Yes, well, and I honestly, in my heart of hearts, I think it's in the best interests of all the local community game stores to sort of morph themselves, really, as a marketing person, and just looking what's the 10-year trends and things that are going on and the digitization of Dungeons and Dragons and sort of where Hasbro wants to take it, at least based on all the conjecture that we've seen. When you look at all of this, the community game store has a real possibility of being irrelevant when it comes to especially Dungeons and Dragons. And that doesn't have to be, because to the end of my days, listen, I don't mind a good online game myself. I enjoy it, laugh, fun, all of that stuff. But for me, for this old man, there is nothing more special than getting together with my friends.
Sitting around the table, rolling some
1
dice.
o'clock on the afternoon, we sit around and have a role play session first. Some of us smoke a pipe, some of us have a cigar, some of us have a libation, a cup of coffee, right? We sort of started off with what happened last, and we talk amongst each other and have this really wonderful experience. Then we kind of cruise inside, have a meal, right? The game continues around the meal, and then we get into the meat of it about 5:30, 6 o'clock, and go till 10, 11 o'clock, and everybody hits out. There is a magic in that. Now, it's not possible for all of us, right? Because many of our friends have moved away, right?
Yes.
The people we love to play with and all of that. But
pressures of life and things like that.
yes, and it is hard. Even us, I went to Europe for a month and that took we didn't play at all, right? And then people are doing their own things front and back. So all of a sudden here we are, haven't played for 2 months, right? Yeah. And so, but I do think the community game stores, it is in their entirely best interests to figure out ways to become a little bit of more community-centric, coffee bars, food, those kinds of things, and sponsoring lots of games.
So the largest Colorado-based RPGA club was the House of Dragons.
Mm-hmm.
That was started as a way for me to get a discount at my local
that was
game store.
Hey, if I do this, will you give me a little discount?
Yeah, no, members of the House of Dragons got a 10% discount at the local game store.
Sorry,
So
our hype train just got to level 2.
Is that? I don't know what this means.
It's a Twitch thing. So if people gift a certain amount of if you spend some money with Twitch, you just keep going on this hype train.
Huh?
Thing. So anyway,
well, cameraman, you go spend some money and help it. Do something.
I don't know.
I mean, if our people are going to spend some money, we damn well could spend some money.
Okay.
But, don't go crazy though, cameraman. Cult will be upset.
Okay.
But the RPGA would send your team modules, right?
Yes, of course.
So if you were a local game store and you sponsored a team, right, then then you would have modules. Which where are they going to play them? At your game store.
Yes.
Right.
I am convinced of this. I am convinced that the long-term strategy is the elimination or reduction of that distribution model because it's expensive.
Yeah.
Again, one of the things that I really, I love capitalism because capitalism is voting with your dollars, and I love democracy. I love voting. Voting is a good thing. It is not a bad thing. It is bad when it is perverted by corruption and cronyism and all of this stuff. But the other thing that I don't like about capitalism is there's a philosophy that is out there that was not always the philosophy. If you look at the creation of the corporation, I'm really getting off the train here right now, but if you look at the history of the corporation and why it was originally created and sort of what the government envisioned and why it was given the status that it was given as all that stuff, was it was supposed to provide for its employees. It was supposed to support the common good, right? It was not about shareholder value as the only thing, right? It was not.
What you measure, though.
It was not. And that drives only one thing. It drives greed and avarice, right? Sorry, I guess that's two things, right? Because all you want to do is destroy your competition, right? Milk your constituencies for as much money as possible, right? Forget everything else, and frankly, it's for me, it is distasteful.
Well, I mean...
Sorry, just to be clear, sorry, I know I'm interrupting, but I tried to hype train, but it said purchase could not be completed, so...
All right, well, we'll figure that out another
time.
But
I say...
Hype on, hypers!
Just know that we appreciate you. I'm sorry, Mike, keep going.
Yeah, so if you're... Let me ask you this question, right? So you have a strong, very strong con presence, right? And that, I'm sure, comes at cost to you.
It's expensive.
It's very expensive, right? If you had an external entity that would offer, you write modules, as many modules as you want, we will edit them, we'll get them to places where they need to be played, places you couldn't afford to go to, right? You aren't going to go to this little con in Mississippi.
Can't do it.
Right, can't do it, right? Yeah. But if they've got judges there, right, we'll vet the judges there, right?
So you're thinking you want to do this with Gooey Cube, but set up our own little
there's already been chatter in the stream chat with people interested.
Truly, my friends, listen, we're going to look at some new strategies here going forward, because it's just, I mean, our friends and fans are magnificent. You all are fantastic. There's just not quite enough of them to make Gooey Cube. And again, you know this, Mike, because you and I've shared tales, but none of us as the partners in here care if Gooey Cube makes a ton of money. It's not, it is a passion project. We love it. It's great for the creative team because they get to work on something really creative that oftentimes you don't get to when you work in an advertising agency. There's a whole host of benefits, right? What we just don't want it to do is be going backwards all the time, right? Yeah. And so our goal is to just get it to that point. And then if it makes a little money, it's all good. But we have day jobs, right? We make money elsewhere, right?
This is everybody's side gig.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it really is, right? That's that old adage, $1 million, get to $1 million in the game business by starting with $2 million, right?
Sorry, someone just got to level 2 hype. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Level 2 hype.
But yeah, we got through it. So now we're on level 3. So we complete. Thank you. It was anonymous donor submitted. Thank you so much.
Thanks for hyping Mike.
We are we are hyped. Sorry, it's fun for me. I record on the screen like when it happens. It's like, oh my God, what is happening here?
Well, okay. So listen. So what I think what we should do is because I do think the second half, which we have not really talked to. We've only gotten. I think we need to do.
Mike needs to come back down again.
We need to do part 2.
Yes.
I think we should just do part 2.
Okay, that's fine.
And I think we bring more visuals that we can show people of some of the newer stuff, some of the modules, right? I got pictures if you want me to bring Slave Lords or those kinds of things. We can talk about some of the modules of the after the turn of the century, right? I've got some of those. And now we got 3.5 and 4 and all of that stuff before we get to 5, right?
Yeah, no, the first third edition module ever made or ever played. Where would you guess that it was?
Oh, you're killing me, right? Gen Con.
Gen Con is the universal vote. It wasn't. It was in Denver.
Will you be at Gen Con?
I won't be at Gen Con this year.
Sorry, Randy was insisting I asked you in the chat.
Yeah, it's killing me right now.
Because Randy can't wait to talk to you about
Mike,
starting a league.
Randy, Mike is fantastic. We are so blessed by the Gooey peoples. It's unbelievable. But you know what I think it is, honestly? We're a little old school.
Yeah.
bringing it back, right? Not this thing, because we remember what it was when it was more. In my mind, it was less about money and more about fun, and it's kind of gotten a little more about money as the flagship, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we hope. So the turn that they have made recently is that turn we hope that continues, right? We'll see. But keep going.
Oh, so the way that the RPGA worked is if you wrote a module, you as the author could specify this module will first play here.
So it played in Denver.
It played in Denver about 2 months before the same module was the feature at Gen Con.
And which was it?
It was called Barbarian Lives, and it's a 12-hour module. So the way they would have modules where you played 4 hours and then you voted, and then the top half would go on.
Oh,
right?
very nice.
And sometimes you would have, there needs to be a better term, but a loser's bracket for people who still want the story, right? But and then they would eventually promote to the point where they had an overall winner for the con, or in Gen Con's case where they're running 65 tables.
Yeah.
Right.
So you come back if we
sure.
did this?
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to do a part 2. We're going to take this, right? We're going to talk a little bit more about the RPGA and how it sort of died, what happened, why, what we think could be opportunities in the future for game stores. We're going to talk about, maybe we'll bring some cool little, maybe I'll dig around in my boxes and bring some cool stuff to show, and you dig around in yours, because I really wanted to show more of these. I mean, this is, you need to put that damn that got to go in plastic, Michael. Goodness gracious. So that's history right there.
People who are interested in more of this, Skip Williams is doing a very similar talk tomorrow.
Oh, really?
I'm not 100% sure what channel that's on.
So just search Skip Williams talk and you'll probably find it. So tomorrow. Oh, very good. Very good. Well, listen, my friends, hope you love this. Michael, awesome.
Oh my gosh, we just hit.
Fantastic.
I think we just hit another level 4 hype train.
Level 4. We're so hyper.
I don't know what that means.
It must have been the. I don't either. It must have been the coffee.
This is so fun. I'm sorry. It's just a Twitch thing, Mike. So
we hit level 4.
I didn't know what it means
I don't know what Twitch is, but hey.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Thank you all so much. This has been such a fun day.
Do we get a base attack bonus?
Yeah, right. Do we get a little plus to hit?
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, my friends. Thank you. We will do part 2. I don't know when, but we'll do it. Don't forget. Make sure you put in that hashtag maps before you leave, so that you get a chance to be in that thing. You only get one entry every time you watch Goo Morning Zyathé, but there will be a couple entries, one in the Discord and one in the Facebook, that you'll be able to enter as well. And we just doubled your chances to win today because we were late. We're going to give away 2 of those maps, and I'm about to show Mike the map, which nobody has not come and go, holy moly. Wait, if you don't say holy moly, I'm going to be very disappointed.
I will try to hit that.
Not moly moly. That was a different. That was
Moly
a movie.
moly.
Moly moly moly.
I like
Name that movie. Moly moly moly.
Oh.
Come on, cameraman. Who is it? Who's naming the movie?
I don't know that movie.
Moly moly moly.
Yeah. Oh, thank you all. It is our 100th
baby.
episode. Sorry, it is our. Thank you, Geeky, for pointing out. It is our 100th episode. It means a lot to us that we got to level 4. Like, that's pretty cool. Thank you all so much.
It is my honor for having been here.
It was wonderful, Mike. It was wonderful. This is great. This is great. Okay, my friends, you do it. May all your adventures.
May all your adventures be gooey.
Sticky.
Sticky, damn it.
May all your adventures be gooey and sticky. Honestly, that sounds not bad.
Oh my gosh. Bye.
Miss Goo, I love you.
Oh my
Have
goodness.
a wonderful day, my friends. Cheers to you. Cheers to Gooey Cube. Cheers to your games. May all your adventures be truly sticky. Bye-bye now.